For Hector X, yeah, it's like mildly based off of a breakup, but no one was harmed in the making of that film. I'm just gonna say that. But I just wanted to interrogate, like the healing process, and whether it's a breakup or losing somebody, like grief is a real thing, and it looks different on every person. And I just wanted to explore, what that looks like for somebody, especially when, from the outside perspective, they're telling you like, oh, it's time, you should be over this, like let's keep it moving, and that's just not real life. And so, I think it's just an individual, personal journey, and you have to do what is best and most authentic for you.
So in terms of the plot, I actually did an academic super squad type organization voluntarily because I'm a nerd. I'm definitely the genie in the situation. And as far as the message, I feel like a lot of times with coming out and coming of age stories, a lot of the drama is focused on like the external factors about, are your friends going to accept you? Is your family going to accept you? And I think like the internal journey of that is put on the back burner a lot, and I know that's something that I struggled with a lot right after I came out. So I wanted to write a story that kind of delved into that, so maybe people wouldn't feel so alone and so isolated, and could know that it's like much more common than you think.
Yeah, so Monster Girl was inspired by exactly two things. One was that my younger sister had a daughter, and I got to hold her in the hospital for like the very first time. I was like, oh shit, I want to be a dad. Oh god, oh no, what's happening? And then the other thing is that it's a story about parental acceptance and accepting your kid no matter who they turn out to be. And that resonates with queer people, right? It resonates with me. That's the story of Monster Girl.
Producers, each of you faced unique challenges in working on these films, whether it's monster babies or building an HIV clinic. What was the biggest challenge for you in producing these films?
So I'm a certified hot mess. Prior to when we were picking our teams, I was like, oh my god, am I gonna be a producer because I'm a hot mess? But here we are. But I think the biggest challenge we faced, so we had a nickname for our team, and it was Team No Experience, No Car. I don't think any of us still have a car. But so this was like our first film for like all of us. Like we've never even like been on a set before outside, and so everything was just new to us, and that's what made it both terrifying and exciting. And so we had that learning curve, but we overcame it with the support of Outfest. Carrie, shout out, Trent, shout out, Christopher, shout out. And with all the fellows up here with us. And so we were able to overcome it just because we had such a beautiful support system. And we made a film, holy shit, so yeah.
I don't have a heartfelt answer like that, I don't think. I moved from New York to do this, so I basically had 3 weeks to move from New York to Los Angeles specifically for this program to participate, and so I think the toughest thing when it came to producing was, oh, I have to help crew up everybody, and I don't know people in town. So that was the toughest part. But thanks to the support of the program and everything, we were able to get an incredible crew, and we had to build an HIV clinic for us. But I mean, that really is a credit to Kelsey Jones, our production designer.
Hello. So I chose to work on Hector X because I've gone through a lot of shitty breakups, so that was number one. But I also admittedly was like, it's one location, this is easy, I'll get this done in a second. And that actually became the biggest problem. The night before we shot, we realized the set that we had laid out was not going to work for our camera. So up until shooting, I think 20 minutes before, we kept rearranging the set, trying to figure out, oh, how are we going to shoot this? So that was definitely challenging. And then prepping some magic shots, which I had no experience with, was very daunting, but we made it work.
Hello, I was the producer for Academic Super Squad, and okay, the one big challenge that immediately comes to mind is that our DP got sick the day of our shoot, and literally 15 minutes before our shoot, our mentor Leanna, shout out to Leanna, called me and said, "Look, don't freak out, but the cinematographer is sick and can't shoot, but I can take over." And Leanna freaking took over. Shout out to Leanna. We could not have shot this movie without her. And Polly and Leanna both really calmed my anxieties my first time producing a short film, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you guys.
So I feel like I had the easiest job in this class because Tim is a visionary guy who really did a lot. I feel like basically my hardest job was just trying to live up to Tim because he was literally I was like, Tim, I think we should probably figure out how to do the werewolf baby, and he's like, oh, I made it tonight. Okay. Yeah, I think we should probably think about how we're gonna set up our sets. And he was like, oh, I have Keaton doing it. He went shopping and got everything. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, and I mean, also my job was made infinitely easier when Sam stepped in as our production coordinator. Yeah, I think the hardest part of my job was trying to figure out how to get paint off the parking lot at 6:58 p.m. when we were supposed to be out in 2 minutes. Yeah, but it was really a great experience overall.
Awesome. Now, production designers, tell us about your process. Where did your inspiration come from, and what were the biggest challenges you faced when creating the worlds you created?
I would say the biggest challenge was just coming into it with no experience and just really being in my head oh, how am I going to do this? But once I got over that, everything kind of fell into place. The inspiration was kind of difficult too because we had 4 main characters and they're all so different, but our director wanted all of them to be present in the room somehow, so I had to find a way to make all their worlds in one room and not make it look like it's combative with each other. And yeah.
Well, immediately after reading Cassie's script, I kind of envisioned what Nomi's room would look like. She's a very edgy punk rocker teen, Chicana, so I got that immediately, and I really didn't have any issues with ideas for addressing the set, and I mean, thank you, Cassie, for approving your entire room and bringing it back. And to all the fellows who donated their stuff, Kyle, your volcano. Really the hardest part was moving that huge wall that took 7 people to move, and dressing the set in 15 minutes, but we had amazing PAs that really helped out with that.
So originally the plan for the HIV clinic was that we were going to work with this medical prop house, but we really did do this on a very, very, very small budget. So when I got the invoices from the medical prop house, I figured out that wasn't going to work, and I was going to have to pretty much build the clinic from scratch myself. Which was a whirlwind. Luckily, I have some background in graphic design from college, so all the posters, the signs, I made all of those by hand. And then printed them at Cal school, so we really kind of worked around the system. And in terms of my vision, my day job, the job that pays me, I work as an advocate at Peace Over Violence, which is an organization that advocates for survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence. So I actually spent a lot of time in hospitals, unfortunately. So that the kind of look of the waiting room came from that experience.
So I was the production designer on Academic Super Squad. I was working with Taylor and Ben. Yes. And it was my first time production designing for sure, but I come from a cinematography background, so I feel like that translated with the eye. Working with Taylor and her script, she always had answers, which I feel like is the most important part of production designing. So I had a lot of fun. I also feel very lucky I got put on this team because I just happened to work at a school at the time, so we got a lot of stuff from there. It was a history classroom, so that worked out. Yeah, and I had a lot of room to like play around with it. We used a lot of really cool references like Clueless. What else did we do? Sex Education was a really big one, so those were two really fun movies to replicate. And yeah, and then I had a great team too that I loved working with. Roman, who styled all of the movies. Yeah, he styled all the movies. That was incredible, and that was huge for us. Everyone looked great. And I think that's all.
Okay, so my inspiration for Monster Care really came from reading the script for the first time, because the way I've production designed before, but the way that Tim writes is very it's very visual, and I'm a very visual person, so it helped having all of that information. I think the biggest challenges were the kitchen that we filmed in didn't actually have any knobs on any of the cabinets. So I spray painted a whole bunch of silver wooden knobs that were stuck on with temporary glue dots, which was great, except every few minutes they would fall off and be rolling all over the kitchen. But we managed to get all the shots, I think. And then the other biggest challenge was probably the big crate you saw was actually made out of a 3-foot by 3-foot cardboard box covered in wood paper and balsa wood around the trim. And I was freaking out about how to do that, but with the support of Tim and my partner in the front row, Sam, right here, we pulled it off without me having a meltdown. So that's it. We have time for a few audience questions. Does anyone have a question in the audience? I see a hand right over there.
Taylor, girl, how'd you write all them jokes? That was so funny.
Well, one of the jokes, I actually do want to do a backstory because the original title was Academic Super Bowl because that's the team name I was on. And then when we were doing treatments, Tim was like, I think Super Bowl is copyrighted. Like, I don't think you can use that legally. So I was like, dang it. And I was like, wait, this is like such a great acronym. I love that we had to change this to ASS. So that was a happy coincidence.
Yes, back there. In the white.
I was wondering for all the writers if you felt like actual seeing the final product was a surprise from your original vision, and if you felt like you had to compromise anything once you got on set.
I'll go ahead and start. Hey, Kevin. So our script, the day of, we were having lighting issues, so we couldn't pre-light, and we actually had an entire film inside of our film basically happening, and there was a heist scene that was going to happen in an old black and white movie, and we had to cut that just for time, and it was really going to parallel that versus the heist that they go on to rob the pharmacy and movie magic versus real life sort of situation, but ultimately we found a way to really get the vision across, and honestly I think it came out better than I ever could have expected.
question. Yeah, so for me, I am traditionally a designer, so writing and directing is just a brand new experience for me. I've never done it, and usually I just go like face first into things, like let's just do it, whatever, learn everything. And so, yeah, so that was my first time on a set directing, and that was definitely like a labor of love. And I want to do a shout out to everybody who helped me and saved me and protected me that day. Because, yeah, I did have to make some compromises because I wasn't in the directing mindset necessarily. But I'm really happy because it turned out so good and it turned out even better than I thought it was going to. So yeah, I'm just very grateful to be able to tell this story. So thank you.
I think for me, the number one lesson that I learned with the writing experience is just to be as brief as possible because time is not on your side on the day of the shoot. So like we probably, if everyone had 8 hours, we probably had 5.5 hours to shoot because of course the world just goes on fire for different reasons. And so I was actually really thankful that I had cut my script from 10 pages to about 7.5 because it really saved our ass. And yeah, I think even just like improvising on the day of, like with the actors, they were so great and flexible basically. And so maybe sure that was a compromise, but I think it all just worked out for the best.
There were a few minor tweaks here and there, like the last scene was going to take place by a water fountain or a dumpster, which just was not going to work in the space we had, which I'm very happy about actually, just because I think those purple lockers are so iconic and add so much cool color to it. But I think my team just pulled off so many miracles, to be honest. Like Raven said, getting those desks from her school, we were like toying with the idea of just like regular tables, and I'm so glad that, you know, my team, Ben and Raven and our mentors worked so hard to like just pull rabbits out of hats and just make it happen, make it exactly what I wanted it to be.
So first off, I just want to like reiterate that we made all these movies each in a day. Which is wild. Like anybody who's made movies before is like, even ones that are this short, like doing all of that in a single day is crazy. And I don't believe that we did it. I watched these movies and I'm like, no, those each took a week. That doesn't scan. I don't understand. But like in terms of scripting to the final product, it didn't feel like compromising. It felt like creative problem solving. And that like everything we did was, okay, how are we gonna make this work? How are we gonna do this thing? And if this isn't gonna work, okay, but what do we do to replace that and put it back in? And so it didn't really feel like oh, you can't do that. It was always like okay, what are we gonna do? And we had an amazing team. The Monster Squad is amazing. Please raise your hands if you guys are in the audience. Yeah, it was just a really great puzzle piece that we put together and made into a movie.
All right, we have time for one last question, and that's going to be from me. We're going to do some visualizing and some manifesting right now, okay? What is next for you guys, and what are your goals for the future?
Gosh, I think the next thing for me is a little bit of sleep, because this festival, we're on day 11, and if you've been around the festival, I've probably met you 10 times right now. But I think I really want to do a lot more writing. Yeah, I've got a ton of ideas that I'm working on, and yeah.
I would like to continue doing this kind of work and continue building community through filmmaking. So that's what I'd like to plant the seeds for next.
So I've been working, side note, I've been working with Outfest this festival, so also sleep. I'm the outreach intern. But after that, I didn't think I could ever be a producer until OutSet, and now I'm like, holy shit, I guess I'm a producer now. So, if anyone needs producing, just hit me up. I'm plugging it. No, but real talk. Honestly, I just want to continue film, like any position. I mean, I've always wanted to continue writing. I've always been a writer, so definitely get into the writer's room somehow. But in any way I could just be a part of this industry and continue telling stories, telling trans stories, telling more stories about our community, building these communities, I would be happy. So.
Yeah, the next step is just keep going, really. Just keep the ball rolling. That's it.
Hello. So what's next for me is I'm directing a documentary about the cultural impact of Chasing Amy as an LGBTQ film. Yeah, so lots of plans on that. If you have any specific ones, feel free to talk to me after, good or bad. Other than that, I'm writing more comedy. I'm going to produce the script that I wrote for the OutSet program, and then doing podcasting. And Taylor and I have co-founded a fun thing called the Marissa Tomei Movie Club. And if you want to know more about that, hit us up.
Well, I would just like to say that something that's always been such a blessing in my life is having a queer sibling who I get to create wonderful work with, and it's my creative partner for the rest of my life. And so, even both of us being able to direct separate stories but like support each other was really invaluable and like really precious to me. So, on that note, my sister and I are writing a new web series, and I'm also writing a new short film about getting ghosted. So if you've been ghosted, or you've ghosted somebody, talk to me.
Yeah, so we're writing a web series, and I am working on like an idea for a feature that's been brewing in my head for a while. And also too, I just really wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to Trent and Carrie and everyone here at Outfest. This really is such an invaluable space, and to have the privilege and the resources to do something like this, honestly, is life-changing. And yeah, Junior already made me cry, so yes.
Well, I came into this program as a writer only, so I'm really thankful for this program for giving me the opportunity to actually be on the set. I don't think I would have gotten this opportunity anywhere else. And then in terms of what's next, I'm just going to continue writing, polishing the ideas that I have, and translating them on a page, because every film begins as a story on a page. And yeah, who knows, maybe continue to contribute to the Outfest family in some other way.
Yeah, this program I feel like just gave me so much creative energy. Like everyone around me is always doing something, so it makes me want to like really be on my game. So I've written a couple pilots since then, dramedy pilots, and then a short film that I wrote and executive produced back in December will hopefully be on the festival circuit soon. And I just am almost finished co-writing a feature too, so hopefully you'll see me in a TV writer's room someday.
So like I mentioned earlier, my day job is very emotionally heavy, so I've always balanced, I've been doing that work since college, and I've always balanced that with my creative pursuits, whether it was graphic design or writing. When I first got down to LA, I produced a very, very, very tiny short film. So I felt really lucky to get into this program because I didn't have a lot of experience before I got into this program in terms of film. And I learned so much, and I'm so thankful for the friendships that I will carry forward from this program. And in terms of what's next, eventually I want to continue doing both the work that I'm involved in with my day job, but I also feel that it's super important to me to continue to have that creative balance. So I intend to continue that.
So yeah, with what Kelsey was saying, I was able to grow in different ways in this program. I really enjoyed the fact that I was able to write a script, which is not my background, and I had to finish it with mentorship, so that was great. What's next? Like future pursuits, hopefully still working with a bunch of you all. I really enjoyed friendship and also your professional work. So what's next for me? I'm shooting, I'm a cinematographer, that's what I work in. So right now I'm shooting a web series called Black Kung Fu Chick. We're shooting it on Super 8, which is really cool to replicate that look. And I've been cam mopping too, and I hope to do that some more. And yeah, that's what's next.
So I'm currently working as a writer's assistant on a new NBC show that premieres next January. Please everyone watch it. It's called Dad. So I'm hoping to get staff next year in a writer's room, but I'm also producing the film that I wrote in this program in 2 months called Meta. So hopefully you guys can see it here.
So if you guys want to take out your phones and write down the Instagram name of First Advanced Film that I'm helping on, at Meta Short Film on Instagram. Please consider donating to our crowdfunding page. And we really want to make this film such a unique trans story, and we want y'all to see it next year at Outfest.
That's for you forever.
I'm also in the works of trying to produce the film that I wrote for this program as well. And I'm really thankful for all of the support that I got after I wrote it, like from Trent and all of the mentors. Like, I'm really grateful for all of that. And I also just want to say thank you to all of my friends that worked on my film and my family for being here and supporting me. And yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Kyle.
So most immediately, I will be working on at Meta Short Film. Shooting this Labor Day weekend. Please donate on Stephen Spark. And other than that, I'm working on polishing a feature with my writing partner Rafi, who's here, and then also rewriting a short called Gay Panic Room that I want to shoot. Some could argue that the original Panic Room is also gay, starring me. Yeah, just hoping to continue working with all these schools that I very much love.
So in order, sleep, spending more time with my boyfriend, because God knows I didn't get to do very much of that, and then also writing a feature. Woo! Okay.
As for what's next for me, I don't really know the answer to that question, but I will easily be working with anyone on this group again because they were the best crew to work with.
I want to make a quick comment, which is... Oh,
I just want to say thank you to Augustine. I believe he's sitting there. He was like my right-hand man, and he helped throughout so much. I wouldn't have been able to do all my jobs if it wasn't for him. So, thank you.
And I love that transition of all my jobs, because what was really unique about this group, about this OutSet class, and these fellows, was how much they worked on each other's crews, whether it was ADing, cinematography, costume design. This was a very unique feel for this group, the collaborative brother-sister team. You could just really feel the energy amongst this group in really key positions that we haven't, had happen at OutSet before, and as you saw on the screen, it worked out amazingly. So I do want to call out one thing, or one person who really led OutSet this year and did such a great job with the OutSet Forward program this year, who is an OutSet fellow himself and made all the difference. But Trent, thank you so much.